During October 2015, a young Dutch woman named Sophia Koetsier, age 21, disappeared under mysterious circumstances while in Uganda. The medical intern had traveled there for professional training and went missing following a safari excursion meant for tourism. Authorities in the region swiftly concluded their investigation, asserting that wildlife had attacked and carried her away. However, the available evidence suggested something far more troubling and suspicious. Sophia was born on April 2, 1994, in Amsterdam, Netherlands. Sophia Isabella Frederica Koetsier came into the world as the eldest child of Gerard Koetsier and Maria Slierman, who would later welcome 2 more children into their family. Friends and acquaintances consistently characterized Sophia as intelligent, friendly, and remarkably compassionate toward others. During her formative years, she dedicated several years to studying at the Amsterdam Youth Theatre School, demonstrating considerable enthusiasm for the performing arts. However, as maturity set in, her aspirations shifted toward the medical profession. Physical activity played an important role in Sophia's life. She participated in multiple sports including basketball and hockey, and frequently went running through Vondel Park, one of Amsterdam's most well-known green spaces. By this point in her life, she had reached 21 years of age and was actively pursuing medical education. Sophia embarked on her journey to Uganda during August 2015. She had recently completed her bachelor's degree in medicine, marking a significant milestone on her path to becoming a physician. Her destination was Lubaga Hospital in Kampala, where she would serve as an intern for an 8-week period. Those familiar with her consistently mentioned her promising prospects. Throughout her academic career, she juggled her educational commitments with various part-time employment, ranging from distributing promotional materials to providing childcare services. Her ultimate goal involved specializing in tropical medicine, a field that perfectly matched her genuine commitment to assisting others and experiencing different parts of the globe. At her core, Sophia possessed an adventurous spirit. She found joy in experiencing unfamiliar locations and immersing herself in different cultures, which significantly influenced her choice to travel to Uganda for this 2-month medical placement at Lubaga Hospital in Kampala. The opportunity seemed ideally suited to her interests and ambitions. Upon arriving in Uganda during August 2015, Sophia approached her experience with enthusiasm, eager to explore the nation, connect with local residents, and obtain practical medical training. Reports indicate she demonstrated strong work ethic and quickly distinguished herself among her peers. Colleagues commended her commitment, observing how she consistently exceeded expectations, whether participating in surgical procedures, assisting with childbirth, or even performing cleaning duties to contribute wherever needed. Her accommodation was located on the IST campus in Kampala, where she resided in a building housing more than a dozen fellow students. Despite the busy and sometimes chaotic nature of communal student living, Sophia embraced every experience. Uganda had captivated her completely. Its inhabitants, traditions, and natural environment all enchanted her. She even took the initiative to learn Luganda, among the most prevalent languages throughout the country and particularly common in her area of residence. This linguistic effort enabled better communication with the local population. Daily phone conversations kept her family informed about everything she was experiencing and discovering in Uganda. Local children were especially fond of her, frequently following her around simply to be in her presence. Uganda had made such a profound impression on Sophia that she contemplated returning after completing her education, potentially even establishing permanent residence there. Despite outward appearances suggesting an ideal existence, Sophia's reality was more complex. At 16, she received a diagnosis of bipolar disorder, which profoundly impacted her daily life. She endured challenging episodes characterized by intensity and impulsive behavior that required vigilant management. Her immediate family and closest friends were aware of this condition, though most acquaintances remained uninformed. Through medication and support systems, she maintained as typical a lifestyle as circumstances allowed. Nevertheless, this aspect of her health would later become critically important during the investigation. Following the completion of her internship on October 22, 2015, Sophia felt unprepared to depart from Uganda. She made the decision to prolong her visit by an additional 2 weeks to experience more of the country's spectacular natural landscape. On October 23rd, she departed on a safari expedition accompanied by 2 fellow Dutch students and a local guide who also served as their driver. For privacy considerations, the identities of her traveling companions were never made public. The group's planned route was ambitious, spanning multiple locations over 5 days. Their journey included Fort Portal, Kadipo Valley National Park, Gulu, and Pakwak before arriving at their ultimate destination, Murchison Falls National Park, Uganda's most extensive protected area, renowned for its spectacular waterfalls and diverse wildlife including lions, elephants, crocodiles, and hippopotamuses. On October 28, approximately at midday, the group reached the park. After enjoying a boat excursion on the Victoria Nile, they arrived at the Uganda Wildlife Authority Student Education Center, their intended overnight accommodation. The student facility offered basic amenities, simple cabins, shared spaces, and latrines located just a short distance away. As the group started organizing their belongings, Sophia took a small empty water bottle she used for collecting litter and walked toward the latrine facilities. The time was roughly 6:30 p.m., and twilight was approaching. A staff member observed her near the latrines, appearing contemplative while gazing in the direction of the Victoria Nile River, approximately 2,000 feet from their campsite. This would be the final confirmed sighting of Sophia Koetsier. Within minutes, her companions noticed her prolonged absence and checked the latrines. She was nowhere to be found. They searched throughout the camp, but Sophia had vanished, gone without leaving any trace. The group responded quickly. Merely 15 minutes after discovering Sophia's absence, they notified the local rangers. A search commenced without delay, though the encroaching darkness created significant obstacles. Rangers explored the surrounding area while Sophia's friends attempted a desperate measure. They played her favorite song, Isabella by Southern Soul, repeatedly from the vehicle, hoping the familiar music would guide her back. Their efforts produced no response. By 9 p.m., with still no indication of Sophia's whereabouts, one companion contacted her family. She reached Sophia's mother, Maria Koetsier, to inform her that her daughter had gone missing. Maria, who had previously visited Sophia in Kampala during the internship, became extremely distressed. She immediately began arranging her travel to Uganda. The following morning, October 29th, search operations escalated significantly. Rangers from the education center, local law enforcement, and military personnel all participated in the effort. An important discovery was made. The small water bottle Sophia had been carrying was located approximately 16 feet from the northern shoreline of the Victoria Nile. However, this finding generated more questions than explanations. What was the bottle doing there? Had Sophia approached the river? The Victoria Nile presents considerable danger, particularly after dark. The region teems with wildlife, crocodiles, hippos, and various predators. Initially, Ugandan officials favored the hypothesis that Sophia had suffered an animal attack. However, as events unfolded, this explanation would prove increasingly inadequate. On October 30th, approximately 40 hours following Sophia's disappearance, additional personal items were discovered scattered roughly 164 feet from where the water bottle had been found, near the riverbank. The recovered items included hiking pants, a shoe, sunglasses, a torn 1,000 shilling banknote, and an empty souvenir bag Sophia had purchased in Kampala. Most troubling of all, fabric fragments, possibly from her pants, were entangled on a tree branch approximately 16 feet above ground level. The distribution pattern of these items appeared unusual, yet there was no blood or evidence suggesting a struggle. How had the pants ended up in a tree? Why were her possessions distributed across such an extensive area? And why was there no blood, no signs of conflict, no trace of Sophia herself? Though other items were discovered near the water bottle's location, local rangers stated they had not observed these belongings during their initial search. These items only materialized 40 hours after Sophia's disappearance, arousing suspicion. Had they been positioned there subsequently to create a deceptive scene? Thomas Koetsier, an expert in survival techniques and investigation, examined the evidence and determined that the pants appeared deliberately cut with a blade and torn into fragments, not damaged by an animal as some had speculated. The absence of blood or human tissue reinforced the notion that the animal attack theory was fundamentally flawed. As Thomas emphasized, no animal would deposit clothing in a tree or arrange items so methodically. In his assessment, the scene appeared deliberately staged. The animal attack explanation proved convenient for Ugandan authorities, who quickly classified Sophia's disappearance as an accident. Yet the evidence, or notable lack thereof, suggested otherwise. No screams had been heard, no animal tracks were discovered, and the landscape between the camp and river was hazardous, especially during nighttime hours. For Sophia, an inexperienced foreigner, traversing it alone in darkness would have been virtually impossible. As the investigation continued, focus shifted towards Sophia's mental health history. Following her bipolar disorder diagnosis at age 16, she experienced challenging episodes that could manifest as impulsivity and excessive confidence. According to her traveling companions, around October 26, she began displaying atypical behavior. Sophia started sleeping less, speaking incessantly and engaging in risky actions, remaining awake late into the night and possibly damaging chairs near a campfire. Her conduct created tension within the group. Concerned, her friends contemplated contacting Maria, Sophia's mother, but ultimately decided against it at Sophia's insistence. The group's guide, attempting to reduce the tension, modified their planned route to include more peaceful locations. However, when they arrived at Murchison Falls, Sophia's behavior, which had seemed to stabilize, became unstable once again, this time with greater intensity. Some theorize her mental state rendered her vulnerable, potentially causing her to trust an untrustworthy person or wander off independently. Sophia's bipolar disorder introduced a complicated dimension to the case. While it might account for why she left the camp, it fails to explain the peculiar scattering of her belongings or her complete disappearance. According to her family, nothing similar had occurred previously, and Sophia harbored no thoughts of self-harm. Sophia's mother, Sophia Koetsier, arrived at Murchison Falls on October 30th, accompanied by representatives from the Dutch embassy. From that moment, the search broadened considerably, involving police forces, helicopters, and even a drone unit dispatched by Dutch authorities. Despite these comprehensive efforts, no trace of Sophia emerged. Ugandan media provided minimal coverage of the story, quickly adopting the animal attack narrative, and the case was promptly closed. Meanwhile, Dutch media covered developments more extensively, raising numerous questions and exploring various possibilities regarding what might have transpired. Maria refused to abandon hope. She returned to Uganda more than 20 times, conducting independent investigations and identifying inconsistencies in official documentation. In 2019, she uncovered a significant lead. A retired Uganda Wildlife Authority officer named Stephen Nyadru provided a revealing statement. He claimed to have witnessed Sophia interacting with another officer the night she vanished. That second officer denied any interaction and was never interrogated by authorities. Maria also discovered that approximately 400 recruits from the Uganda Wildlife Authority were conducting training at a camp just 1.2 miles from the Student Education Center the night Sophia disappeared. This information wasn't initially disclosed, raising questions about whether alibis were thoroughly verified. All of Sophia's recovered possessions were transported to the Netherlands for DNA examination. The DNA analysis confirmed her genetic material was present on the belongings, verifying they were indeed hers, but it also identified unknown male DNA. This discovery suggests the possibility of human involvement, potentially kidnapping or criminal activity. With numerous individuals in the vicinity and the staged appearance of Sophia's belongings, a cover-up seems probable. But what would motivate this? To shield someone? To prevent criticism regarding the site's security measures? Or was it simply more convenient to attribute responsibility to an animal than to investigate a potential crime? Over the years, multiple theories have emerged. The official animal attack explanation has been widely discredited. Other possibilities include accidental drowning or becoming lost. Some suggest Sophia wandered toward the river and drowned or became disoriented in dense vegetation, but no screams, footprints, or remains were ever located, making this scenario unlikely. Authorities briefly explored the possibility of self-harm due to her bipolar disorder. Her family emphatically rejected this, asserting Sophia cherished life and never exhibited any inclination toward self-harm. Voluntary disappearance was also investigated. Perhaps Sophia faced some internal conflict and chose to vanish. Her family dismissed this as well. She maintained close family relationships and had numerous educational plans, making the abandonment of everything senseless. Sophia's family emphasized she was genuinely happy with all she had accomplished thus far. Another extensively discussed theory involves human trafficking or kidnapping. This explanation appears most plausible. It's supported by the staged evidence and the presence of unidentified male DNA. It suggests Sophia may have been abducted, possibly by someone she encountered at the camp. There were no indications of struggle or blood where her belongings were discovered. No tire tracks or footprints existed. None whatsoever, not even hers. This points toward the involvement of one or multiple individuals. It's highly probable Sophia was taken by surprise and transported elsewhere. The absence of footprints indicates someone proficient in jungle survival concealed their tracks. Remember, approximately 400 recruits from the Uganda Wildlife Authority were conducting training at a camp just 1.2 miles from the Student Education Center the night Sophia vanished. These individuals possessed training and would understand how to eliminate traces if necessary, not to mention evidence suggesting a possible cover-up by authorities. Additionally, Sophia's mental state may have made her a vulnerable target. The human trafficking theory is deeply disturbing, especially given the unknown DNA and the local authorities' lack of transparency. However, without concrete evidence, it remains speculative. Here's what we know for certain. Sophia's family never ceased fighting for answers. Sophia Koetsier became unwavering in her search. She relentlessly raised funds, employed private investigators, and pressured authorities to reopen the case. In 2019, Uganda's public prosecutor ordered a fresh investigation, but progress stagnated due to the global health crisis and local elections in 2021. Maria continues pushing for a DNA comparison with the second officer reportedly seen with Sophia before she disappeared. This could either exonerate him or lead to a significant breakthrough. The most recent update comes from June 2025. Michael Kajambu faced trial. He was the tour guide leading Sophia and her group on the safari. However, Michael lacked a valid license, a factor authorities claim may have contributed to Sophia's disappearance. During the trial, Stephen Nyadru, who had testified years earlier about witnessing a wildlife authority officer with Sophia, stated that Sophia and her two friends violated student education center regulations by playing loud music at the reception area. He reported that around 4 a.m., Sophia was observed banging on panels and attempting to ignite grass, indicating a mental health episode. Stephen claimed he cautioned Michael to take Sophia to a hospital and cancel the trip, but Michael disregarded the advice, and Sophia subsequently vanished. To date, this represents the only trial connected to the case, and it didn't directly address her disappearance itself. Sophia's family, led by Maria Slierman, continues fighting for answers to solve this mystery. But what's your perspective? What do you believe happened to Sophia? Was she genuinely attacked by a wild animal as Ugandan authorities maintain? Or was she the victim of a crime? Share your thoughts and theories.